Kofi-Owusu, and I am going to be discussing a presentation of corporate strategies. It will be based on Porter's competitive strategies approach, and I'm going to look at four companies and base my analysis on those four companies. Again, my name is Charles Owusu. I'm a PhD student at California Intercontinental University, and so thank you for your attention and time, and let's begin the presentation. First of all, let's discuss the presentation objectives. Basically, my presentation would focus on online e-commerce industry. I will be doing an analysis based on four companies as I mentioned. I would mention them shortly. I would also identify kinds of differentiations, and then I will also describe how useful the Porter's method has been for this particular analysis. Next, I think it would be helpful to quickly look at the outline of the presentation. There's a personal introduction, which is my name and where I study. The name again is Charles Owusu. I study at California Intercontinental University. I'm a PhD student. I'm doing a DBA in global leadership. I'll be analyzing four companies. I'll be looking at corporate strategies and strategy formulation for both businesses and corporations. I'll be looking at analytical tools, directional strategies, functional strategies, and again, the overall utility of Porter's approach. I'll be looking at these four businesses: Uber, Amazon, Walmart, and Dell, by allowing businesses to differentiate their products in terms of within the marketplace, either by lowering cost or by changing the scope of business operations. And this is really fundamental because it is really making traditional retailers really come under pressure of competition. Now, a business strategy basically focuses on the portion of a company's business units or services within the industry, and this may be competitive or it may be cooperative. Porter has given us a number of competitive strategies, and we'll be looking at some of them. One of them is added on the basis of cost, and the other one is about differentiation of product. The other one, the question that Porter forces us to pose is whether we want to go head on a head-to-head approach. In other words, tackle our biggest competitors and fight for market share, or use a cost leadership approach where a company actually designs its product in such a way that it is more efficient than its competitors, or differentiation approach, or the focus approach, which is also the when a company is able to provide unique and superior value to its customers. And there's also the competitive scope approach, where Porter argues that if a firm is competitive based on its scope, i.e., the breadth of the company's business in the target, it decides to either target a large proportion of the market or target a niche area of the market. All these are background to the Porter's competitive strategy approach. We will look at the concepts before we come to the actual discussions of what differentiation means and what cost leadership means, and how the companies that are mentioned above have applied these. The other company that I selected to look at in more detail is the Dell Computing Company. In fact, Dell uses e-commerce as a way of achieving lower cost in PC business. It has created an entirely new way of organizing large-scale production and making sure that it maintains its quality. At the same time, the prices are quite reasonable. And in fact, both companies have designed products that are comparable and yet more efficient than most of their competitors. Both companies also provide products and services of high quality that are regarded within the online e-commerce industry. Both companies have innovative and cost-saving ideas to provide unique and superior quality to their products, and both companies have managed to minimize cost of their products. And again, both companies have a very loyal following. And if you look at Uber, millions of customers worldwide, and Dell has held to its own ever since it started operations, so a few decades ago. This is to deal with quasi concentration or long-term contracts. Now, the important thing to realize about all these strategies is that as they become more defined and more clarified, employees are in a better situation to shape their efforts and input more efficiently and more effectively so that they are able to produce goods that are of innovative nature and are able to gain a niche market for the company. So it's important that these strategies are clear to staff members of every corporation. Other examples include horizontal growth and horizontal integration. Now we continue to diversification strategies, which involve concentric diversification or conglomerate or unrelated diversification. And I provide examples of the various areas that can use how these strategies apply in practice. So there are also stability strategies um, that are listed here, and there are also retrenchment strategies to do with retrenching staff. It could be staff reduction in numbers, it could be a turnaround strategy, and it could be contraction of activities. Retrenchment strategies also cover the various forms listed here, ranging from captive company strategy to sellout strategy to divestment, bankruptcy, and liquidation if things come to that. So these are the key sources that I drew upon to make my presentation. Now, in concluding, I should say that Porter's approach is very useful in a very complex working environment because it's holistic and inclusive. However, it would benefit from the use of other tools such as a SWOT analysis that is used, and also the factor analysis also is helpful. But in general, in the analysis of the four companies that I discussed, the Porter's approach has been very useful. Thank you for your attention. My apologies for rushing through because of time, and I hope you take your time and look at the points that I have made. Again, my name is Charles Owusu, and the presentation was on corporate strategies. We looked at strategies from the standpoint of businesses, from the standpoint of corporations. We talked about differentiation, which Uber uses. We talked about cost leadership, which Amazon uses. We talked about cost leadership as well. Walmart also uses cost leadership. And we talked about Dell, which uses both focus and differentiation. And I think this has put them in a position in which they have considerable market share and in the online e-market industry. Thank you so very much for your attention. Bye bye. Thank you.